just after 3 o'clock. The doctor is in the house. Right, it's May Day. The occupiers have their general strike today. We're going to get an update on how that's going with the Occupy Detroit folks. That'll be about 4:06 today. I am Doc Thompson. I appreciate you joining me. If you want to join the show, 248-356-1270. If you have comments, 356-1270. Right to the phones we go. Senator Gretchen Whitmer, how are you?
I'm good, Doc. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. I want to talk to you about the smoke-free Michigan. It was 2 years ago today that it went into effect.
That's right. It's been in effect for 2 years, and what we're seeing coming out of the legislature right now is kind of an effort to chip away at the ban.
Well, now you supported it 2 years ago. Did you sign?
I did.
You voted for it?
I supported the smoke-free, and I think, I've talked to a lot of my business owners here in town, and, so some of them don't like it, but many say that they've had to go out and purchase high chairs for kids because now families are coming to their venues, and we've heard a lot of really good positive feedback, I think, from the general population.
Well, that's good for those businesses that actually want kids in the business. Some of them not sure you want the kids around, but I understand what you're saying. If it's good for their business, I guess that's good for them. I've heard from some others that saying it's killing business as well. But let's talk about the law to begin with. First of all, did you support the exemption for the casinos?
I did. I supported the negotiation. We had a Republican Senate and a Democratic House and a Democratic governor at the time, and that was where the negotiations led. I did support it. I wasn't, enthusiastic. I think if we have one rule, it should apply to everybody, but with the nature of the Native American casinos, the casinos made their case that it put them at a competitive disadvantage, and that's how the bill turned out.
Yeah, I say I don't support the smoking bans, but I say if you're going to have it, it should, of course, apply equally across the board. It looks like they want some changes now for fundraisers and some other places as well. Right.
My colleague Howard Walker from up north passed a change in boilerplate to a budget bill, which was really exactly how the process is not supposed to work. We don't enact policy changes into a one-year budget bill because it only is in effect for 1 year. So just to benefit a charity in his district that, likes to have cigar smoking. Well, we maintain that if you're going to change the rules, put it into a bill and have the debate, but don't go around the process for one group of people and carve out an exception for them.
Well, Democrat or Republican, and I don't care if it's state level, local, or even at the federal level, I think we're all tired of that. I think we're tired of people attaching things to bills and not having the proper debate, the tricks, the gimmicks just to get things done. I think most Americans are tired of that.
I agree, and just taking care of their own. We are sworn in to do our best for the people of the state of Michigan. Yes, we each have constituencies, but we don't just, make a mockery out of the process just to impact a couple people in your district.
Talking with State Senator Gretchen Whitmer about the smoking ban that went into effect 2 years ago today. Why do you support the smoking ban in general?
Well, I think, when you look at the public health data and what it means in terms of secondhand smoke, it's really very compelling that this is a public health question, and the secondhand smoke numbers have gone down. 93% of the air has gotten so much better. They call it 93% clean. I think the public health just put out. It's gotten
93% cleaner, is what they're saying?
Yes, and so it's a public health question, and if places like New York it can go smoke-free, why not Michigan?
Well, what about the simple, basic concept of, don't be around it if you don't want to?
Well, smoke is something that pervades all airspace. It's not something that can be contained because you have a retaining wall. It pervades all the airspace, and for the workers and for people who are musicians in these places. Those are the biggest the voices when we actually first took up the bill were the people that were paying a price for going to work or for doing their craft in terms of playing music at these venues, and they were paying a huge price for someone else's choice to smoke.
But it's their choice also to not work there or not play music there.
Well, that's what the opposition likes to say, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of people who are waiting tables don't have great choices in terms of where alternative employment is, and they are subjected to everyone else's bad health choices And this was that was one of the primary issues we debated.
Well, see, that's the problem with it, though. There are options. That's my frustration here, Senator. I just see so much of this. If you can say people can't smoke simply because it's a public health issue, when those people don't have to necessarily work there, if you're talking about the workers, then where does it stop? I mean, you have to understand that.
Well, the workers can't wait tables at home and make a living at home. The smokers can smoke at home.
But those people working, the waiters and waitresses, don't have to be waiters or waitresses even.
Well, I mean that would be a nice place to be, where there were so many jobs for everybody, and we all had degrees, and we all had the ability to go out and find a job that we didn't have to be subjected to someone else's, smoking habits. But that's just unfortunately not the case.
Well, no, but even when the economy was better, people made that argument about people subjected to this stuff, and they still said, well, yeah, but some of them are around there. I mean, you don't have to work that job. You don't even have to work a job as a waiter or waitress where you would be around smoking. There are also, even prior to this legislation, there were bars and restaurants that didn't allow people to smoke just because that was their policy and people could get a job at those places.
That's true, but they were few and far in between until we actually mandated the smoking ban. Smoking was enormously prevalent, and it'd be a nice place for us to be as an economy if everyone did have those kind of choices. But that's just really not. That's a fiction. These people that are waiting tables are often doing that because there aren't other opportunities where they can be in a healthy environment making more money.
My neighbor has a wood burning stove.
Okay.
He burns wood. It blows all over the place. If I'm outside, every once in a while I get a whiff of that.
Well, that's his property, right? And that's what I say. Smokers certainly should have rights. I mean, that's a choice. But they've got the right to smoke on their property, just like your neighbor who burns wood on his property has that right.
But but shouldn't that then come down, as you just said, smokers have rights as well, to that personal choice, the bar owner or restaurant owner's choice, the wait staff's choice whether or not to go in there, the smoker's choice whether or not to go in there. You stated early on that you recognize that smoke, doesn't stop at some imaginary boundary. Well, my neighbors smoke every once in a while from his wood-burning stove will blow over into my property, and I get a whiff of it. So should he not be able to burn wood? Get rid of fireplaces? I mean, seriously, I think that's a pretty strong argument.
Well, I appreciate the analogy, but I think that it's loose. We're talking about people who are struggling to make a living.
No, don't, Senator, don't go there. Don't do that. Everybody's struggling to make a living, even those bar owners.
That's right. So we're you and I, we're going to have to disagree on that one.
Which one? About the
that everyone can just pick another job and go make a living.
No. Everybody has those choices even growing up. We all have those choices. We even have the choice to continue to work where we are. There are jobs out there, and you don't have to necessarily work in those fields, and there's even low-end jobs where it's not just working at a place where there would be smoking. There's fast food places, which traditionally you're not being subjected to smoke. There's a lot of stuff like that. Because even mention the fast food and smoking, what about people who work at a place that grills food?
Well, you know what,
there's carcinogens coming off the meat when you grill it. I mean, there really are. There are people out there that think we shouldn't grill meat because of the carcinogens, and you shouldn't consume it.
Well, there are, and that's their choice. But the fact of the matter is, when you've got a public health question like this, that Republicans and Democrats debated and came up with this as a public policy, that is the public policy of the state. Now, anyone who wants to change it is more than welcome to push a bill and try to debate a bill through this process instead of playing games and gimmicks and trying to take care of their own. If they want to have that debate, they should have that debate, and they should do it the way that the Founding Fathers decided this democracy worked best, and that's out in the open.
Yeah, and I certainly agree with that. As I said, I think most people are pretty sick of that. What about some common sense changes to the smoking ban in the state of Michigan? Things like if they have proper ventilation, or it's truly a separate room, or outdoor on patios, stuff like that. Would you support that?
I think that's a debate that's coming. I would have to be really persuaded that they could do that in a manner that did not complicate the public health rationale for enacting the ban in the first place. So, but I think that is a debate that is coming. We've seen the bills being drafted and introduced, and I do believe that's a debate that will be before us. And I encourage your listeners to weigh in and to make sure that their legislators know where they stand.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts. I'm talking with State Senator Gretchen Whitmer. I just saw that the state tax collections for taverns that sell liquor and limited food dropped 2.8% the first year of the ban. That's pretty rough for those people that are making a living as bar owners or people working in those establishments.
Well, it's interesting, too. I don't know if you read some of the follow-up analyses, but they say that is not uncommon in a recession like we have had. So we have looked to other states who have had the bans. Some have reported that business went great. Others have reported that they've had hard times. But right now in Michigan, I don't think anyone can, would object to saying that we've struggled and people are not out as much as they used to be.
Kind of
what
tricky.
That's attributable is hard to ascertain.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky with the bad economy to say whether or not that's because of the smoking ban.
Right.
I can understand that. Although if you've got, in a couple years, 5, whatever, we look back and say, hey, maybe the economy's doing better. We still see it's down from what it was. Likely you'd see some establishments that are doing better and some that are doing worse because of it.
Well, and that's why I think it's important that we have a real fact-based discussion dealing with real analyses in the public forum, which is how any change should be debated.
I'd be frustrated if I was one of those ones who suffered, though. One of the bars that end up suffering because of it or restaurants. The small business owner, that would be really tough right now.
I don't disagree.
All right. State Senator Gretchen Whitmer, I appreciate you joining me and laying it out for us.
Thanks, Doc. Have a good one.
Thank yourself. Thank you. Have a great day. 248-356-1270. 248-356-1270 if you want to comment on the state smoking ban. I'm trying to think in general. Skip the producer spinning the dials radio style. What are your overall reactions to that interview just now? I'm just in a very general sense.
Dodging, dodgeball, dancing. What's the word?
A little bit of that, yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for.
I think. Was I unfair? Was I reasonable?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
She's better at dodging bullets than Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
She was going back to those, and that's the reason I had to stop her on the set. Wait a minute, don't go there about the economy. We're all suffering right now. Well, even if you're somebody that has a job and you make $150,000 a year, those people are suffering as well. Now, they may not be as bad off as you if you don't have a job or you make very little or whatever. I get that. But we're all suffering. We're all in this together. These are the people that say we're all in it together when it comes to public smoking. So, we want to make sure that everybody has clean air and stuff, but we're also in it together when it comes to the economy.
Yeah, well, when an establishment could have before made themselves a non-smoking establishment, I would have no problem not patronizing them because I couldn't smoke. That option was there. Places that decided they wanted to smoke, they should have that option as well.
Let me tell you exactly how reasonable I am with this stuff. And I tell you all the time, and I prove it to you regularly, that I am a person that uses common sense and logic. Years ago, I supported smoking bans, even though I am rabidly in support of personal freedoms and personal responsibilities. I was a hypocrite when it came to smoking bans because I rabidly hate smoking. I can't be around. It's not the smell in that. I cough constantly. Any additional smoke drives me up the wall. I can't be around it. It's also annoying, too, but I'm just not going to be. In fact, I told my wife when I proposed, and afterwards, a couple days later, we're talking about the wedding, and I said, you realize smoking is grounds for divorce. I'm just telling you right now, you start smoking, I'm done. I didn't say that about anything else. That's how much I hate smoking. But somebody called me about it on the air. And I said, what about my right to go in a place and not breathe your funky air? And he said, you have the choice. You don't have to go in there. You can go to a place that doesn't offer cigarette smoking.
What a novel idea.
It is so basic. And I said, well, what if I want to go into that place? Whatever. He said,
well, you have a choice.
You have a choice not to go in there.
You can go in there if you'd like, Doc.
And if you, Doc, believe in personal freedom and personal responsibility, why would you say somebody can't get together in a private club, a smoking club?
Well, and then in Michigan, too, you have the exemptions with the casino and everything, too.
That goes right out the window. And the senators,
a lot of hypocrisy.
Absolutely. And the senator's right about that. She's right. She was right about two things. Number one, if it's going to apply, it should apply to everybody. In fact, the state legislature are the very people who exempt themselves from all kinds of stuff. So I don't care if you're exempting the state legislature or the casinos or whatever else. Either it applies to everybody or it does not. Period.
And because so much of the budget comes from the casino, they weren't able to do that.
They sold out is what they did.
But how do you not say the same thing about local businesses, too, that much of their business comes from smoking?
How'd you like to be a local bar or restaurant right next to one of the casinos? Right there. And people can say, well, I'm a smoker.
Why the hell would they stop in your establishment?
Exactly. I can go right there and get a sandwich or a soda pop and have a cigarette with it. And I can also gamble. I mean, how is that fair to those people around the casino? So the hypocrisy there is incredible. And then, of course, as I said, like I said to her, they should, of course, debate it openly. I don't want this tacked on anything else. As much as I support them chipping away at this bill and eventually getting rid of it altogether, the way to do it is not simply attaching it someplace else. She's right about that. The hypocrisy is, I'm sure, well, let me back up. I wouldn't be shocked if she has also tried something like that, and certainly her party has, just like the Republicans. 248-356-1270, talking about the smoking ban in the state of Michigan. Lorraine on a cell, how are you?
Good, real good. I'm just calling to make my comment about the senator's statements about being concerned about good health. Why haven't they stopped the smoking at the casinos? I worked at the casinos for over 5 years, constantly sick with upper respiratory infections, bronchitis, bloody noses. It's all about the Benjamins. I'm telling you, if they stopped the smoking at the casinos, the state would miss out on their money.
It's all about the money for them. That's the real reason.
And fellow workers are sick all the time. So that was my only comment is,
Lorraine,
hey, if you're gonna do it for the restaurants and everything else, stop the casino smoking too.
I want to play on the fair.
It'll infringe upon their money.
I want it fair across the board. If the casinos, get an exemption, everybody should, or vice versa. You say, Lorraine, you were sick quite often when you worked there?
Pardon me?
You're going to have to stop listening to your radio. Just listen to me on the phone, hon. You say you were sick quite often when you worked at the casino?
Yes, I was always sick. I was always at the doctor's on antibiotics because of the smoke.
It might have been the cocaine, Lorraine. It might have been the cocaine. That wasn't it. It was the cocaine.
Long nights at the casino.
I was saying, it might have been the other stuff you were doing. No, I understand. You're right, though. The science is basically proven it, too. You're around that smoking. You're subjecting yourself to a lot of stuff. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much for the comments, Lorraine. Ken in Detroit, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing fine, sir. What do you think about the smoking ban?
Well, I agree with it myself. I do agree that the casinos should also have a smoking ban. I don't feel any reason they should be exempt. But your caller just before me is right. It's all about the money. Obviously, they want it. It is only on the gaming floor down there. I don't work there. My wife is a bartender at a bar, and she thinks it's a violation of people's rights not to let them smoke. However, she has enjoyed it quite a bit. People are not smoking. She comes home, not having to take a shower as soon as she gets in the door every night. And it really has not affected her business. When it first went into effect, the bar business did drop some. However, now most of the smokers have adjusted. They do go outside and smoke, and it does not really affect her tips. And the bar is doing well.
Why do you support the ban, though? I mean, don't you like freedom and responsibility?
Simply because my wife's been a bartender I do like personal responsibility, but the problem is if you do like to go to the bar and hang out and socialize with friends, finding a place with non-smoking was impossible before the smoking ban. As a matter of fact, most bars are not even adhering to that. If you were in Detroit, almost all the bars you can go in there, people are smoking, and you just pick a bar and randomly go in it. In the downtown bars, like during a hockey game, football game, whatever, like the main bars like Old Chalet, things like that are not letting people smoke inside, but a lot of the smaller bars do, especially out of the downtown area.
And now you bring up the next thing, Ken. Who do you punish if somebody's smoking in there? Well, in the state of Michigan, the bar gets punished and the person who's smoking gets punished. Why would the bar get punished? I appreciate your comments. Thanks so much. Why would a bar get punished if somebody's smoking in there? Even if they don't have up signs that says no smoking or they're not actively trying to stop people, why should the bar be punished? Think about this. If I go into a bar right now and there are no signs up that says, hey, don't murder people in my bar, and I murder somebody in the bar, is the bar punished? If I go into a bar and there's no sign up that says, don't take out Mr. Johnson, and I take out Mr. Johnson, are they going to punish the bar? No. It's my responsibility. See, this shows the true mindset of the entire thing. First of all, the money. We're not going to enforce it individual or equally. But then the mindset is we're all in this together, and we're all going to be punished if somebody does wrong. We're going to treat people like children to make sure that they're not doing the wrong thing, instead of saying you do the right thing or the wrong thing, and you suffer the consequences of either one. How simple is that? More calls, 248-356-1270. Let's go. JJ Ferndale, how are you?
Good, Doc. Couple of things. First of all, Lorraine, quit whining, please. She's not sick from breathing in secondhand smoke. She gets more offensive material from breathing in car emissions if she's walking on the street. So that's number one. But number two, I got the solution to make everybody happy, Doc.
What do you got?
I just got back from Europe, and you've probably been overseas, and you've seen these smoking cages that they have, like in airports.
Those are hilarious.
Yeah, well, they're great. If you're a smoker, they're awesome. However, it's my $1 million idea to start a small business, create these things. You're creating jobs, you're stimulating the economy, and you're making smokers and non-smokers happy. Only you do it better. You do a more upscale version with wood finishes and nice seating.
Then you're encouraging people to smoke, JJ. It looks too nice. That's what they'll claim next. You're encouraging them to.
That's what they're going to complain about now?
Yeah, now the ones you saw over there, explain what they look like to people that don't understand them.
The ones in the airport were just glass boxes, really. They were probably maybe 15, 18 feet one direction and maybe 7 feet another direction. Big fans, exhaust fans, but you're kind of sealed in this room with all the other losers who are in there smoking, like myself.
Well, you know what's nice about that? You don't have to buy cigarettes. You just walk in there and sit for a couple of minutes, right?
That's exactly right. You get all the secondhand smoke. But
how about this, JJ? Here's your business. You don't make them that upscale. You just make them individual pods or pods for, like just 2 or 3 people.
Right.
And
that's what I'm saying. You could, in fact, you could have like a catalog full of them. You could pick if your business is big enough. If you're at the casinos, have really nice, luxurious, high roller smoking lounges.
If I like them like phone booths, though, where you put them on every street corner in the city, or where whoever wants them, or they're willing to put one out there. But then, JJ, you and I, as business owners, we want to get this off the ground. We have to go to the legislature then and say, hey, you've got to give us an exemption, for one of these things, which means we're going to have to donate. Picture me making the little air quotes with my fingers. Donate to their campaign to get that done. But you might be onto something, JJ. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Franklin now. Adam in Franklin, how are you? Hello, Adam. You're on the air.
Adam?
Yes, Adam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine. What do you think about the smoking ban?
I'm torn on the smoking ban. I'm kind of like you. I'm got the rabid pro-liberty, but I really hate smoking. What I was calling about was I came in a little late to your interview, but you suggested the banning of wood stoves.
Yeah.
And kind of laughed it off like it was a slippery slope. And my parents live in the state of Washington, where their House legislature just passed a bill to not only to ban, but to actually seize and destroy wood stoves. I don't know if it's been signed into law yet, but they're...
in the state of Washington, though, that might have been because they're killing trees. All the tree huggers there. That might be what it is. They're not worried about you and I breathing the fumes, but you're killing a tree, for Pete's sake.
They do get pretty upset about that.
No, you're right. I have seen some stuff. And Adam, you're going to love this. If you think that's crazy, have you heard of third-hand smoke? I am not. You think I'm making this? This is third-hand smoke.
No, it's the next logical step. It makes perfect sense.
Third-hand smoke, they say, and these are some doctors and scientists and whatever have pushed this idea. Third-hand smoke it describes all the chemicals and stuff, that residue that gets on everything when you smoke. So, Adam, for example, you go into a bar and you take out a cigarette and you smoke, and that air, it's just the smoke disperses through the air, and then it falls onto the bar and the chairs and everything in there, the walls. And you've seen it if you've been around a smoke or whatever. You clean the windows and you got all that filth on them. Well, they say that's third-hand smoke, because if you're a worker or somebody else and you touch it, then it gets on you, and then you've got all of those chemicals in your body. It's third-hand smoke. You might even take them home and pick up your kid. Now, the kid's been exposed. Well, wait a minute. That wouldn't be third-hand. That would be second-hand, third-hand, right? If I touch something and get third-hand smoke on me, and then I pick up my son, and then he's exposed to that, that's second-hand, third-hand. Right? He's exposed second-hand to my third-hand smoke. Is that just fourth-hand smoke?
Second-hand once removed.
That would be second. Okay, then fourth-hand smoke has to be your child watches a television program or sees somebody smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
Fourth-hand smoke. Think how it's influencing them and whatnot. I bet we can come up with a few more, too. We'll get some more of your calls coming up, 248-356-1270. It's Doc Thompson, Talk Radio 1270 WXYT.
Doc Thompson.